The Woman Who Stitched Peace, Bosnia and Herzegovina. In the small Bosnian village, the war had ended, but the silence had not. It was a dense, heavy quiet, thicker than the winter fog, dividing houses that stood only a stone's throw apart. The visible lines of conflict, the trenches and scars on the buildings, had been erased, but the invisible lines in the hearts of the women remained, etched deep by loss and anger. She was a woman known for her steady hands and quiet resolve. She knew that walls of bitterness could not be torn down by shouting, only by patient, consistent effort. She found her answer not in policy or politics, but in the oldest, quietest language of the village, embroidery. Amina had an idea for a massive tablecloth, a tapestry large enough for the whole community to gather around someday. She cut the canvas precisely in half, each piece identical. She took one half to the women living on the north side of the stream, and the other half to the women on the south. Her proposal was simple. She would be the courier, carrying the cloth back and forth, and each group would sew their own side of the pattern. At first, the process was glacial. The women worked in deliberate isolation. The north side used vibrant reds and golds. The south preferred the deep blues and greens of the mountains. When Amina delivered a finished piece of the north's work to the south, the women there would examine the stitches with cold, critical eyes. They were judging the craft, perhaps, but they were mostly measuring the distance between themselves and the women who had touched the other side of the fabric. They refused to meet, speaking only through Amina, the silent mediator. The tablecloth grew inch by difficult inch. As the detailed floral patterns and geometric borders met in the middle, a strange thing began to happen. A woman on the south side might realize the north side's thread count was slightly off and send a message back with Amina. Tell them their blue thread does not match the border's tension. The response would return. Tell them our flowers are wilting because their green is too pale. These were not insults, they were technical observations. And they were finally communication. As the months passed and the cloth grew longer, the conversations, though still mediated, deepened. They moved from tension and thread to the weather, to the quality of the wool, and eventually, tentatively, to the children and the memories of the village before the war. The need to match the patterns, to ensure the two halves became a single, coherent whole, demanded a shared language of creation. The day came when the tablecloth was finished, a masterpiece of color and contrasting yet harmonious patterns. Amina gathered the women, and this time, they did not refuse to come. They stood on opposite sides of the massive, beautiful textile they had created, looking not at each other, but at the flawless seam that ran down the center, the boundary they had successfully erased. Now, every year, the women, the north and the south, the red and the blue, gather their stitched works, their threads of peace, and travel together to the vibrant market in Sarajevo, selling the physical proof of their mended bonds. The silent village has found its voice, stitched back together, thread by fragile, resilient thread. And Amina, watching the women laugh and bargain, often repeats the truth she learned with a needle in her hand. Needles can sew wounds, not just fabric.